welcome in another episode of my Erlang tutorial series, and today I will be talking about list comprehension. So without further ado, let's go. List comprehension in Erlang is similar feature to this one in Python. The syntax is obviously a bit different, but the way it works is actually the same. So we are starting with square brackets. After that, we are putting variable or value, which is the element of the list which we want to create. After two pipes, we are specifying the generator of our list, which is also a list. I'm talking about this function, which return value is a list. Let me show you that. From module lists, function sec is generating the list from the first argument to the second inclusive. So with arguments 1 and 10, we are getting the list from 1 to 10 inclusive, okay? And after comma, we can put a filter, which has to return true to put element in the list. So here I am selecting all x's from list 1 to n, where n is argument of our function, where x has to be greater or equal to 3. So for example, comprehension, example 1 with argument 13, I will be getting the list with elements from 3 to 13 inclusive, and that's true. We can obviously add more filters here, so I can create the filter that requires x to be smaller or equal to 5, and both of these requirements have to be fulfilled to put element in the list. So let's compile our module, and example 1 with the same argument, and we will get the list with 3 elements only, and that works just fine. Here is also an example of common behavior in Erlang. We are creating functions with the same name but with different number of arguments. As you can see, this function and this one have the same name but different number of arguments. This one has 1, and this is the export of this function, and this one has 0, and this is the export of this function. From the point of view of Erlang virtual machine, these two functions are totally different. In this function, we are creating list from the list comprehension with the elements which are the 2-element tuples. And here is another example of list comprehension usage. After the comma, instead of filter, we are putting another generator. Because there is no filters, we can easily find out how many of tuples will be there. Here is the a variable, which will be put as first element in the tuple, and it can take 2 different values from 1 to 2. And same goes for b variable, which also can take only 2 values, which is atoms a and b, and it goes as second in tuple. So for every value from first generator, there is 2 values from the second one. So 2 times 2, we will receive a list with 4 tuples. Let's try it. And that's correct. We are getting firstly 1 with a tuple, next 1 with b tuple, after that 2 and a tuple, and the last one is 2 and b tuple. So it goes from the left to the right. We are generating all possible combinations of these tuples. Okay, and there is a second example. We can freely mix the many generators with many filters, and here is the example of Pythagorean triplets. This function will generate the all possible Pythagorean triplets as the list of 3-element tuples, all possible from maximum sum n, where n is argument of my function. So for me, let it be a 30, and these are all possible Pythagorean triplets. Yes, nice. And here's the last example where I created firstly a record game with fields title, type, and in library with default value as false. Here is the function which creates a mock data. That's just a list with many game records. and the function which uses data from create mock data. The data is my generator here. The variable is game, and the first filter is that the game title has to be equal to Minecraft. Let's try to call this function, and we will get the list with only one element, which is Minecraft game, and that works just fine. We can obviously change this filter to something like game type is equal to survival, and also the second filter would be in library is true. Let's compile this file and call the same function, and we will get again just Minecraft because it's survival and it's in our library. But let's put escape from Tarkov in our library also. Now let's compile and let's call it again. Now we will get a list with two elements, just Minecraft, and the escape from Tarkov is here too. Nice. And this is the example of usage with records. As you can see, I'm using here the syntax from the previous video. So if you are not familiar with that, you can go there and watch it. And yes, I think that's all about list comprehension. It's very similar to the one in the Python. So if you are familiar with that one, then this will not be a troublesome for you to understand this one too. And yes, that's all in this video. Thank you for watching and see you soon.